Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Ken Kunken. And I'm so happy that you are here. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great. And thank you for inviting me to speak with you.
Thank you so much. And I would love to introduce you to the audience first. You broke your neck playing football for Cornell University in 1970, leaving you paralyzed from the shoulders down. Despite this, you completed degrees in engineering, education, and psychology before becoming a certified rehabilitation counselor and later an assistant district attorney, serving over 40 years and rising to deputy bureau chief. Your inspiring life story is captured in your 2023 book, I Dream of Things That Never Were, the Ken Kunken story. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Ken Kunken.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being able to tell my story here.
Thank you. And my first question for you is, how did your journey from severe paralysis to becoming a successful attorney shape your perspective on resilience and determination?
Well, thank you for the question. And my life has taken a lot of twists and turns. But what I found soon after I was injured was that everybody that I seemed to be dealing with, which at that time were mostly medical personnel, seemed to have very limited expectations of what I would ever be able to do with my life. In fact, at one point, I saw that it seemed the best they thought I would be able to do would be someday to sell magazine subscriptions over the telephone. Now, I believed I could do a lot more than that. And fortunately, my family and friends believed that as well. And through their help, they encouraged me to go back to school, continue with my education, and then eventually to seek a job that I would not only be able to do physically, but that I would find very satisfying and stimulating. So after I completed some of my degrees, I worked for a couple of years as a vocational rehabilitation counselor for other individuals who had severe disabilities or were dealing with life altering diseases. And I really enjoyed that work, found it very rewarding to be able to help others. And part of my job was speaking before groups and organizations on the topics of non discrimination and affirmative action for people with disabilities. And often after my talks, I would be asked questions. And while I would do my best to answer those questions, I was always careful to caution the questioners they should really speak with a lawyer about their concerns. And after a while, I started to think, there's no reason why I couldn't become that lawyer. So I left my job, went to law school, did an internship at the district attorney's office, and found a new way that I could help people and serve the community. So I was very fortunate that the district attorney at the time based his hiring decision on my abilities rather than my disability. And he gave me the opportunity to work in the office where I absolutely loved the ability and the chance that I was given. And I worked there for more than 40 years.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And my next question is, what challenges did you face while pursuing multiple advanced degrees, and how did you overcome them?
Well, certainly there are a lot of challenges physically since I wasn't able to take notes. I had difficulty even turning pages of a book. And this was well before there were laptop computers, right? In fact, even dialing the telephone, they weren't even touch tone phones, they were rotary telephones. So everything that I needed to do physically was very difficult. But I was fortunate that my family and friends basically acted as my arms and legs to help me be able to do everything that I wanted to do in my life. And with their help and support, I was able to continue my education, complete a number of different degrees, as you mentioned, and then work for a few years first at the Viscardi Center here on Long Island in Albertson, New York. They hired me to work as vocational rehabilitation counselor, and they helped teach me and instruct me how I could best work in an office with my physical limitations. And thanks to their help and guidance, I gained a lot of self confidence. It improved my self esteem and my feelings of self worth. And when I finally had the opportunity to help others, that really made me feel so much better about myself and what I was doing, and gave me the confidence to believe there was even more I could do. So I can't thank them enough for the opportunity they gave me. And I think one of the problems when people with disabilities are looking for employment is so many people are not willing to give them that opportunity to show what they can do. But once they do give them opportunity, they find people with disabilities are some of the hardest workers, most loyal, dedicated, and devoted employees that an employer can ever hope to have.
Yes, that's so true what you said, and I love what you shared about the help you received from your friends and family being your arms and legs, helping you, and that we have to remember that at the time when you studied, for example, there were no laptops like today, or you can have your with your voice, right? You can command the stuff, the computer. I don't use that so much, so I don't know it yet, but I know that it's possible, right?
Right? In fact, even then, before all this, there was a big problem just with architectural barriers and getting around. When I went back to Cornell, virtually every one of its buildings had steps in front of them, and there was not one ramp or curb cut on the entire campus. So on my first day back at school, I had to be either pulled up or bounced down close to 100 steps just to attend my first day of classes.
Wow. We cannot imagine this. And you did this, and I'm so happy you did this. And now you can tell us about it, how it was. And I love how you shared what you shared about people believing in you. And that way, maybe you could also borrow their belief in you and build your own, your self esteem, your self confidence to do what you were doing, right?
Thank you. Well, again, one of the things that I wanted to uh, tell people and to encourage them to do is to keep their expectations high for people with disabilities, because somebody's performance often rises and falls based upon what others expect of them. So it's so important to keep your expectations high. I saw that they were expecting just very limited possibilities in what I'd ever be able to do. And I saw other patients in the rehab facility who, as a result, didn't seem to be doing much with their lives. And I always felt that if they were encouraged to do more, they would be doing more. And I think that's so important.
Yes, I think this is the most important message. Encourage other people, see something in them that they don't see in themselves yet, and then they rise with that expectation. You call it expectation, right?
Absolutely. You have it right.
Thank you so much. I have another question, of course. How has your experience as a rehabilitation counselor and attorney influenced your views on advocacy for individuals with disabilities?
Well, it really has changed the way I looked at virtually everything. I mean, before I became severely disabled, I didn't think twice about issues affecting people with disabilities. I never even noticed all the architectural barriers that were present virtually everywhere you went. So it really changed my perspective on everything. And when I saw how extra hard people with disabilities need to work just to achieve what most people seem to be doing very naturally and easily in their daily life, I gained so much respect and admiration for people who are really trying their best to improve their lives, make something of themselves, and to help others along the way.
Oh, yes. Thank you for mentioning the help of others or helping others is very important as well. And I had a podcast guest the other day, and it was the so-called, he called himself blind entrepreneur. He was blind, and he said that 76% of the blind people are unemployed in the United States.
It's really sad that that still exists, that there are those limitations for people trying to get a job and make something of their lives. And so many employers are still hesitant to give them that chance. And I think the more people see what somebody with a disability can do, how they function, and how they can help others, and what a strong work ethic most people with disabilities really have in order to rise to the position that they ultimately attain. I think more and more employers are realizing it just makes good business sense to hire somebody with a disability. It helps their business.
Yes, absolutely. And what you said is so important about giving someone a chance, right? Then,
Absolutely. And if I might add, working at the district attorney's office, one of the things that they do when you leave the job is you go through an exit interview where you usually tell the employer what you like best about the job, what you thought could be improved about the job. And I was told on a number of occasions that what a number of the assistant district attorneys commented on, what they liked best about the job, was meeting, getting to work with, and getting to know me. Now, I'm not saying that to boast or brag. I know they weren't saying meeting Ken Kunken. They were talking about meeting, getting to know, and working with somebody with a severe disability. Because unless you had a relative that had a severe disability, very often you don't come in daily contact with somebody with a disability. And they found that it really helped, motivated, and inspired them to do more and to work harder. And in fact, if I might add, when I left my job in the district attorney's office, they actually named an award after me that they're now giving out annually called the Kenneth J. Kunken Award to um, to notice and identify an outstanding assistant district attorney each year who has exemplified my work ethic. And I'm so honored that they actually named an award after the person with the disability, because I think that says a lot. And
yeah.
I think that really is a wake up call to so many employers that you can really make a difference in the people that work for you already, having somebody with a disability work alongside them.
Wow, this is very encouraging what you shared. Yes, because it can be that people are giving up themselves and not even trying, right, to get a job or whatever, because what you just shared. And I think we have to continue and be persistent as well, and go after our dreams when we dream about or we have a goal to get a certain position, no matter in what state we are in now. And I think it is worth it. So my next question is about your goals or intentions or one of your next projects, if you
Okay, well,
like.
thank you. I had the opportunity, with a lot of help from my wife, to write a book about my life. And it's called I Dream of Things That Never Were, the Ken Kunken Story. And now I'm trying to share what my personal experiences have been that has enabled me to do all the things that I have done in my life, and to encourage others that they could do that as well. And I might add that in addition to my education and my work life, I found a lot of happiness, satisfaction, and success in my personal life as well. You see, I was able to marry the woman of my dreams in 2003 when I was already in my early 50s. And when I married my wife, Anna, she told me that she wanted to have my baby. Now, this seemed impossible. I mean, at the time, I had been paralyzed for more than 30 years, and I was already in my 50s. But we were determined to make it happen. We researched various options, and we found that it still might be possible for someone in my condition to father a child. And we did that through in vitro fertilization. We pursued it. And on January 24th, 2005, I was present in the delivery room when my wife Anna gave birth to triplets. Triplets. We have three incredibly beautiful sons, Joey, Jimmy, and Timmy, who are now sophomores in college.
Wow. I love that you shared your personal story, so to say. I didn't ask you about that, but also I think we can read about this, well, we can read more about this in your book, right?
Absolutely. And I can tell you with some of the various accomplishments that I've had in my life, there are no accomplishments I'm more proud of than those of being a good husband and a good father. And they make me feel happy, bright, and ecstatic really every day that I live.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. I'm speechless now, and I'm not. But the story about the, you call it triplets?
Triplets,
Yeah,
three
this is the
sons
word.
born the same day. Three sons,
Wow.
Joey, Jimmy, and Timmy. They're all 19 years old now.
I love that. So congratulations again, because even though it is almost 20 years, I love that story. Thank you so much. And yeah, I would say please reach out to Ken. He's amazing. I think, or I assume you would love to connect and to, yeah, to people when people have
Thank
questions.
you. If
Mhm.
I may add, they
Yeah.
can go on my website to learn more about me. It's kenkunken.com, and they could learn not only more about me, but how they could purchase my book.
Wow, I love that. Yes, learn more about you and your book. And in the book, we can read more, of course. I love that. Thank you so much. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
My final thoughts would have to be that as nice as it is for me to receive congratulations on what I've done, I couldn't have done any of it without all the help, love, and support that I've received ever since the day of my injury from my family and my friends. Without them, nothing that I ever did would have been possible. And it was only through their help that I was able to do what I have done. And now, with the incredible help of my wife, Anna, and the help that I get from my three boys, I'm able to continue to hopefully help and inspire people to do more with their lives. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story.
Thank you so much. You are exactly at the right place. This is the Inspired Podcast, and I'm deeply inspired now by your story. And I have to re listen to this episode again. There were so many nuggets in there. And please check out the homepage of Ken and also the book. I put it in the show notes, of course. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And see you in the next episode.